investing in yourself and building a set of skills to the level of expertise that allows you to set yourself apart in technology and garner promotions, garner wages, or more equity, and get you started on your journey. And so when did you in your career start seeing the value of really building these skills to the level of expertise?
Earlier in my time at BMC, when I started switching roles, you start to realize that there's this different skill set that applies in all of the different functions that you may participate in.
When you start understanding the concept of how these SaaS businesses work, software sales works, it is a combination of front office and back office working together to get this machine working. Because ultimately, we work in this environment of these hyper growth companies that are constantly evolving and changing. For you to really start seeing your career progress, you have to understand how this machine works, how all the parts fit together. You can understand, okay, here's now the set of skills that I want to build around my discipline that can start separating me.
When you think of education, the normal way of getting into a career, you go through your college education or you don't. But then when you join a company, there's another education that starts. It's relative to that company and how that company operates. You have to be open to all of those different inputs from the company you're joining so that you end up shaping how you want to be represented within business. And today it's more than ever. It's completely different than when we started it. We're
right.
Old, right? So I try to learn by looking and reading what the generations behind me are embracing. But now, from my journey from BMC to Splunk to OutSystems and now Scalibrium, there's inputs from all of those that I still use and apply because they're all different. They're all good. They're all bad in their own way. It's how you end up build who you are and what you want to be as you grow up. I just don't think it's a straight line.
It's not. And you bring up a very salient point there, which is you get out of college. College gives you a framework that allows you to get employment. And once you then start working for a company, you're then going to get a whole different set of skills. And I think in tech, you can start at small tech and you can learn what it is to grow companies, to hustle. And sometimes you don't get the same formal training as I know you went to BMC, I went to Accenture. I got a whole other, additional graduate course on business.
Yep.
And then as you go from company to company, you get the opportunity to add into that entire collection that creates this broader skill set that you get the opportunity to bring to different companies, or you get the opportunity to go build your own company. You started in the discipline of sales, which is critical to all companies. And then you started teaching salespeople. At what point was it the fact that you got how to sell and you had some success that you thought that you could then scale and add value by teaching other people? What was that inflection point that said, I want to take this discipline and now go teach it instead of execute it?
For me, the choice, it flowed like this. And this all started, I would say, at BMC. They had a very good training program, and there were a lot of legacy IBM folks, I think, that were at BMC in the early days where, if you remember IBM and all the big providers, they had to go away for a month and get indoctrinated into their culture and how they were running their businesses. BMC had a 2-week boot camp. The idea that, you're going to learn or immerse yourself in the company and what they're all about in 2 weeks, it's kind of like a crash course in an MBA or whatever the company is all about. Their brand, their product, their culture, it all kind of surfaces through that process, right? So BMC, I learned complex selling, which was great. However, it was all technical. I wasn't a technical guy, so that was tough. But I ended up finding success in building business relationships while selling. And that was the part that got me really excited. And then there's an organization within BMC that was called Best Practices, and it was the behind the scenes contract terms and conditions, rev rec, as well as all of the commercial terms that you might put in place to make a big contract palatable for you and for the customer. I ended up going into that role. That ticked the box for me. It was a service role where I was doing best practices for the Southeast team. That was the start of me wanting to lead others. And then I did it as a sales leader. After that, ran a team. That was frustrating because you had to command respect immediately from other salespeople. And if you've you've only been in your sales gig for the first time, you don't really know how to do that. So I had to learn how to do that pretty quick. And then you realize people don't follow in a lot of ways. And I was never a follower. So I understood that. It was painful. But the choice to go into enablement, that was made for me. At the end of my run at BMC, the first 8 years, super successful seller, best practices, and then sales leader.
It was a very similar experience for myself where I had a lot of experience building the Salesforce.com practice at Accenture. So in implementing Salesforce.com at scale, understanding it. And it was, I had a deep skill set when there weren't a lot of people that had that skill set. So that was then the opportunity to take a good opportunity that I had at Accenture to continue to grow, take those chips off the table, go somewhere like Splunk and really get the compounding from a career perspective and then also from a compensation perspective as well.